Hello. Thank you for joining me. This video is about life path number 1. Now, if you have already scoured my channel, like I just hope that you have, you will see that I have already done a video on life paths. And yes, the life path number 1 was definitely included, and I could definitely make sure that it's added to the end of this video if you want to click on it and check it out. But right now, this video today, I am talking about blocks of the life path number 1 and how it is that you can maximize yourself in acting in the energy of life path number 1, or the energy of number 1 period, because it could just be whenever your birthday could equal or add out to number 1. The day that you was born can add out and equal number 1. Your life path with your whole entire birthday, the date, the month, the year, all of that added out equaling 1. And yes, in these energies will definitely play out in different ways. Okay, we get that. But let's just go to the life path number 1. Where does life path number 1 face its blocks? Or, excuse me, or the main block of life path number 1 is the inability, hear me out, the difficulties it is with working with other people. Now, granted, number 1 has the energy, has the backing to move forward full force, single-handedly, alone, to be the person that is the unique one, to be the creative one, the individual. Life path number 1 has that energy. And while I get it, a person is, good with dealing with astrology and the way that the planets work and, what we're here to develop in ourselves. I get that. So I get that life path number 1, people have to find themselves in a position is to where they're developing this individuality and this uniqueness about themselves, regardless of what else is going on, regardless of if they don't want to do that or not. They're often put in situations to where people around them show them more often than not that, okay, hey, you can't depend on me. But if I need you, I'll be able to come and utilize you when needed. That I get, I'm aware of the fact that that's what happens with life path number 1s. But here's the thing. The whole concept is when life path number 1s is put in the position, they're pushed there by their experiences, okay, and dealing with certain people. It becomes a situation to where ones oftentimes will feel, okay, I can't trust anybody. I don't want to trust anybody. I can depend on myself. I need to depend on myself to get things done, or it won't. Who am I going to rely on? And so much so that they start isolating themselves from relationships. They start distancing themselves from people and associations around them. And they start just pretty much going on with life without being like, okay, I don't need any support and any help with anybody, from anybody. When in actuality, you have to understand, if the number 1 is the star of the show, is the one that's showing up, is the one that is, create, and this is done in a very, don't get me wrong, this is done in a very authentic way for most number 1s. All right. So don't get me wrong, but the point that I'm trying to make is that you're going to show up. You're going to be unique. You're going to be able to perform. You're going to be the first one that does it. You're going to be the trailblazer. You're going to be the waymaker. You don't get that without having the people to lead, to follow the way, to watch the show, to show and to see and admire the creativity, even though you're not doing it for them to admire you. Sometimes, most often. It's still meaningless without those people, those other people. So what blocks number 1? Because really deep down inside, 1s don't necessarily want to be alone. Yes, 1s love their independence, but they got that independence from a place of, being vulnerable and being shot down, or being vulnerable and needing help and not getting that. Because it was supposed to shape you. I get that. But at the same time, there's a balance to everything. And where number 1s fall short, or where they get blocked from their full experience, is the fact that they limit the access to what it is that they want to have. So number ones have to sometimes have a little bit of mercy on some people. You know, hey, maybe you gotta whip them up a little bit and make them see what they're missing out on, or make them see, or let them see that maybe you don't really need them. Yeah, they're not gonna disrespect you. They're not gonna imitate and copy you in vain. But when dust settles, you got to give a little bit of mercy, because you want companionship. You want friendship. Okay. You want to be able to stand beside people that honor you and that admire you, but at the same time respect you for your authentic self. You don't want them to leave and go away. You want to have those relationships incorporated. You want to be the lead. You want to be the leader. So the thing about ones also that blocks you is knowing that you want to be the leader, knowing you want to lead something. You have the power to do so, but then you don't. A lot of times you just do stuff and then you're like, okay, well, I did it because that's just what I want to do. I don't care if you like it or not. Now, is there a time and a place to say that? Yes, it is. And to stand that and to believe into that? Yes, it is. It makes up number one. As a matter of fact, like I said, go check out the number one LifePath video that I did to help bring all of this to, a full circle. But at the same time, though, how would number one be as impactful as it is if there was people that liked it and embraced the uniqueness of the one, and then there was people that went against it at the same time? It's not that the number one should care enough to be like, okay, well, I care about everything that you think about me, and then I'm just gonna give up on what I am and who I am. No, it's not that. That's what number ones should do. Okay. It's more so that number ones should actually make it a purpose of themselves to say, okay, I want to be a leader. Own it. And you might say, but I don't want to lead people. Have you guys seen like rappers and like celebrities, or, just celebrities in general, not just rappers? But I hear a lot of them say this. When they get judged or made to be held accountable for like the type of content that they put out, they always say, I didn't want to be the leader. I ain't nobody's leader. But it's like, oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. In a way you are, So what are you going to do with that? That's what number ones have to ask themselves. Because even if you're not leading a big congregation of people, you might just be leading your children, and you might want to lead them different than what you had in life. You might just want to motivate someone else to be the best that they can in their life. You might just want to make a certain lifestyle that you represent just okay to be and to do, and you just do it and you implement it. But the point that I'm making is, it's not how many people you're doing it for. It's not who you're doing it with. It's the purpose, it's the intent, and it starts here in the mind. What is your purpose? And number ones have to get clear on that. And that's where you become unshakable and unmovable until something else comes along to advance you and evolve you in that thought process. And then that's when you make the changes. Because we all know that number one is capable of making changes. So you unblock your one willpower. You unblock it completely. And there's different dynamics, because different numbers put together equals one, so there's different dynamics in those numbers playing out. But ultimately, you unblock your number one fully by purposefully saying and accepting, I am a leader. And where do you need to step up in your life? But when you step up in your life, where can you do so where your goal is to definitely unite others, teach others, embrace others, motivate others? Okay. So this has been Life Path number 1, in ways to unblock your energy and really establishing that purpose and intentionally walking towards that is a great way to start. I'm Butterfly to Light. You know I'll be back. Like the video and subscribe to the channel.